Hey, it's Saturday, March 12th, 2022 at 9:55 a.m. my time, and it's unbelievable. A month ago, I was at my wit's end. I was really just willing to, just ready to give up on a multi-year adventure where we crisscrossed this country, aggregating the largest criminal conspiracy and cover-up in history that never ended, and we put it in this beautiful, compelling, unbelievably inspiring package that people tend to consume, but we weren't able to break through. We weren't able to break through because, quite frankly, the owners of all of the media platforms are in on what we expose. Okay? This isn't an Alex Jones conspiracy bullshit, hocus pocus, whatever the fuck. I'm an investigative journalist. I'm the real deal, okay? And what we did is a miracle. And what dropped into my lap yesterday is the final piece of the puzzle that answers every single question that the world should have. And quite frankly, we should have already stopped the world dead in its tracks. But because of this incredibly loud universe, and I hope you're listening, and if you're not, please lean in. I know it's difficult with all of the noise, but you got to understand what I'm telling you. The system is completely corrupt. It's designed to fail, and the only people that benefit from the system are way above your pay grade that don't give a flying you know what about whether or not you live or die, succeed or fail. In fact, you're expendable, okay? But I wasn't expendable, and that's why I went on this incredible journey. And I know 1 out of 10 of you aren't either. And until we succeed and blast through this whole thing, then it's going to be all of the other followers that don't jump on board until they're seeing what all of the noise is about, and then finally they'll get it too. But I need you people who actually care about liberty and justice for all and the integrity of law to listen to what I'm telling you. And I know that more of you today are listening than ever before because we just blasted through 500,000 views on hashtag Patrick Lovell. And we're also actually approaching 1 million views on hashtag the con, which is extraordinary. But I have to encourage you guys again, please go to my YouTube channel at Patrick Lovell Truth Bombs the Con, and please like and subscribe because I don't know how much longer this is going to go on. And we've got to translate to other media platforms if we're going to be able to, to keep the momentum. And we've got to get on the same page. So, what I'm trying to do, above all else, is get you the truth, the facts. This truth is monumentally larger than Watergate, infinitely larger than Contragate, infinitely larger than Epstein and Weinstein, and just about everything except for 9/11, because this is the other side of 9/11. And I don't have the answers for COVID. I haven't gone there. That's not my bag. But I got to tell you, I'm completely intrigued by how COVID fits in. But ultimately, this invasion of Ukraine by Putin is, I think, the fourth chapter, maybe the impending collapse of this system gone awry. Because what it looks like to me is it's ultimately a battle between the West and the East, but both sides are completely corrupt. They're just battling over who's going to have control of the world's global currency, so they've continued their corruption unmitigated. If you look at Russia, Russia's a disaster. I mean, Putin is like the king of Russia, is probably the richest guy in the world, and most people in Russia are living behind, under poverty wages. It's absolutely insane. China is, the world's producer. They build everything, and they're the ones that we're all depending upon. But it's state-run capitalism. It's some sort of fusion hybrid of communism, capitalism, but it's just autocracy. I've said it before, there's really not a whole lot of difference between the sort of control of an autocratic regime or even a fascist regime like Hitler or a communist regime like Stalin, in so much of how the system actually works and to what ends, right? And so the United States was always designed from the very beginning to basically, and this is why the founders actually had a whole lot of cynicism, but they decided to try it anyway, that they didn't trust people. They didn't trust power, because power is always about complicity. It's always about the weaker ones that fold under the more powerful ones that then control the rest of society. That's just how humanity works. And so throughout history, we express it in Hollywood, through the light and the dark force, and you see it over and over and over in every single film, or going back to the stories of the Bible and everything else. I mean, this battle has been front and center from the beginning of time, but it's reaching yet another crescendo, and this is the reality that we're facing in our lifetimes. It's coming to a head one way or the other. And what's coming to a head? Well, look, there's a couple of metaphors that we all have to really understand. Okay, so when I grew up, I loved comic books, I loved cartoons. I always kind of assumed that the good guys were going to win in the end, and that appeared to be the case. But that's not the case, okay? The bad guys are winning in a big way, and they are tiny in comparison to the masses that just don't understand what's going on, because you can't fight what you can't see. When things operate in the shadows and they operate against your interests, you're just getting played. And that's what I continue to tell you. This whole thing is a setup, and they're pissing on your head telling you it's rain. So imagine, in the Old West, you walk through the bar, you get to the back, and you discover the black hats counting the money with the white hats. That's what we're in the midst of. That's corruption. And yesterday, the final piece of the puzzle landed in my lap, and it's a big one. My God, it's the one that I've been searching for a long time. And it's not that I didn't know it existed, but having the evidence is a whole lot different than a lot of speculation based on a lot of anecdotal evidence. But what we have now is really a huge thrust. That's the final piece of this equation. And I swear to God, that's probably blasphemous, but it just felt like it just landed in my lap. And it feels like whether, it's Zeus's lightning rod, or it's the staff of Ra, or, Poseidon's trident, or the breath from God's nostrils, whatever it is, it's enough fuel for somebody like me who has never bent the knee to injustice to carry on. And what I'm urging you all to do is to understand what it is that I've presented to you. I have walked thousands and thousands of miles to get these truths to you. They're all on display at www.thecon.tv, and I'm attempting to galvanize millions and millions of people that are on the downside of corruption, that don't understand what happened to them, to get educated with the facts, because this is monumentally bigger than Watergate. This is infinitely larger than ContraGate. This is beyond your wildest imagination, bigger than Epstein and Weinstein. It's like the flip side of 9/11 that never ended. It's a global conspiracy that never ends. It's the oligarchs. It's the guys that have complete control. And we, the people, are now, if we can galvanize, we can get on the shore of the Red Sea. And it's about, we can part the Red Sea to get to liberty and justice for all, because this whole system are pharaohs. I mean, is that enough metaphors in common culture and lexicon? Look, the details matter, and it's so much more involved than any of you know. You got to get past 3-minute increments. You got to get inside the hood of the engine, what this is all about. And if we can come together, we can create the great resurrection. We can. And it's in the service of liberty and justice for all, so that the revolution against King George III and the Civil War and D-Day and the Civil Rights Movement and landing a man on the moon and all of the rest of it mattered, because it does matter. And that's the side I'm on, because right now we have two choices. We have corruption or white supremacy. There's no way in hell I'm standing for that. Please join me. We're 500,000 more than we were a month ago. I mean, this whole thing started off for me, quite frankly, because I was going to give up. And then I was thinking, well, I got to do something stupid and crazy, because that's the only way to get anybody's attention. So I thought about flying to New York and throwing a pie in Jamie Dimon's face and having somebody film it so that it would go viral. People that I'm surrounded by, who I refer to as my angels, they said, look, just keep going. Keep telling the truth. We'll find ways to get people to hear it. And they did. And here we are. And we've got global reach now, and it's growing daily. Truth is marching, okay? We can save ourselves from ourselves, but it really is the ultimate battle between good and evil. And you're going to have to make a choice. Either you're complicit in the corruption, or we purge to surge, forward, onwards and upwards.